in the end, final dream song of the album, second to last song, which was in fact the last song that we wrote.
Man. So we talked about how this one took a long time to write. But I need you guys to understand that the Google Doc that this is in is 14 pages long. And that's not all, because a good portion of it is in a different document. So
there were so many rewrites and scrapped versions and notes.
I think I count 4 or 5 versions of the song.
I think there were at least 5 iterations of this song. We still haven't changed the title on the document itself. Like, the vial is named in the end, but the title on the page is still one of the old titles, which was Again.
Because originally the Again and Again motif was going to be dialed up to 11 in this one. And we're going to have it chanting in the background and get more and more maniacal.
That was in one of the editions. I don't remember what number edition that was in.
I think that was one of the very early editions.
I think it was.
That concept stuck around for a very long time.
This song, it's been called Again, it's been called You Dreamed a Dream Reprise, it's been called In the End, it was called Babel's Fallen at one point. It's had so many names, so many motifs, so many different choruses, tunes, styles. I think it was going to be a rap at one point, and then we ended up making Burning Pages a rap.
I'm just going to scroll through and maybe read some of the favorite lines. I don't know.
I'm going to see if I can find the secondary document.
There was some in the end of the You Dreamed a Dream document. I don't know if there was a third document, but I know that much because I saw it earlier.
There was a point where Precipice's chorus was going to be the bridge. The chorus, that as it stands, stuck around for a while. That was an early decision that stuck around to the very end. There are lines that we loved that we had to cut, that we were so upset about. I remember there being so many lines that we had to cut that I was just devastated that I had to cut.
Angels can't help you. Titans won't harbor you.
Yeah, that was one of them that I loved.
Run off to anyone else who would bother to save and protect. Do you think that they'll fight for you? Tried that one trick once, kid. How'd that work out for you?
Yeah. Can I just read this whole verse?
Sure. Do you remember how it went?
I'm not going to sing it. I'm just going to read it out. So, again, you'll notice some of these lines are lines that we ended up using in the original song. But I think this is maybe 2 versions before the version that we actually ended up settling on.
You have the same chorus.
It has the same chorus. The chorus stuck around for a long time.
You could probably read the verse too. The second verse as well.
Yeah, I'm going to start reading the first verse, but you'll notice some of these lines we kept, but some of them we loved and we had to cut, and we were so sad. Look at you now, so stubborn and proud, it's like you learned nothing, so what have you found that made you believe you'd get a reprieve? Now you lie to yourself, but you'll never be free. As long as I'm breathing, as long as I'm scheming, because I am the hunter, you better start fleeing. I'm 10 steps ahead of you all at all times, and you don't know it yet, but it's all my design. Angels can't help you, titans won't harbor you. Run off to anyone else who would bother to save and protect. Do you think that they'll fight for you? Tried that trick once, kid. How'd that work out for you? Not great. You can say that for sure. And that's where we ended up with that verse. And then we had the same chorus. And then verse 2, which had a lot of stuff that I really hated to cut. This was the big thing that I hated cutting. We had, you didn't see the streaks on that floor of the cell that we shared, so now I'll recount to you all of the horrors that those people put me through, all of the games that they made me suffer through, all of the stories that they made me listen to, all of the pain that I will give back to you, again and again and again and again.
And then the bridge.
Actually, I gotta sing this one.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So this is how the bridge was originally going to go. You're here at the threshold, the crossroads, the precipice, you've lost the war. I've waited so long for this and I don't care if you scream or you cry or you beg for your life. And I don't care what you give me in turn. I'll watch as you burn, and I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm too close to the brink of my victory. This vengeance is for me.
I was really sad we cut that.
I was so sad we cut that. There were so many good bits in all these iterations that we tried to keep, and there's so much that we had to cut. Like, there's the bridge of a previous version. Fall to your knees, say your prayers to a goddess of death who won't care. This is war, that makes it fair. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. I've waited a long time for this. I've planned it and thought it all through. 100 more times you will die, again and again, now it's just me and you. There's so much we had to cut.
That was a good bridge, too. We had some really good bridges.
We had good bridges, and then we actually never put a bridge. We had the long outro, but we never actually put a bridge. Actually, that was what was gonna be the bridge. That outro was gonna be the bridge, and then it just kept getting longer and longer and longer, and we're just like, let's just end it with that.
Oh. Okay, so I think this was post this tragedy of mine. But look at this chorus right underneath it. Look at the sheer just amount of references in that thing.
Oh, yeah, there was one point where we just tried to pack as many references into one chorus as we could. So should I just read this one too?
Yeah. I do think it's a little much to be in the final cut, which is one of the reasons we cut it. But you still gotta be impressed by how much we fit into. Just go ahead.
I'm gonna read it. I don't even remember if we had a tune.
I don't think we got that far.
I don't think we ever got a melody. I think we were just trying to cram in references, and I'm not sad we cut this because it's a little messy almost. So this would have been the chorus. You dreamed a dream that you wouldn't be haunted, but the fires of a titan brought your beloved dreams to the edge of the precipice. And you know the rest of this tale. You were always in the wrong place and the wrong time. And no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't seem to rise above the tragedy that will follow you forevermore. I'll keep you alive until I'm burning the pages. Yeah, it wasn't super clean. I think that was we wrote it and we hadn't even turned it into musical lyrics yet.
Right. That was just, we were trying to see how many references we could pack into one. But still, that's a lot of references in very few words.
Some of our ideas, we were like super sad to cut. And then there were ideas like that, where I'm okay that we didn't put that in.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but there's some of these that I'm just like, oh.
Oh, here's some really old stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because, yeah, I forgot about this version.
Where we're paralleling Wilbur's song a bit more, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a point where we were going to actually bring in Wilbur motifs to the Dream song to kind of make that connection clearer. And then we didn't. It's like, I am Agamemnon, a god among men. I made your Babel fall, and I do it all again. Say your last prayers to a god who won't care. Look upon my works, ye mighty in despair. I made cities fall, and I watched nations burn, and now that I'm free, it's my turn to rise. Anger burning like fire. I'll watch as you drown, I'll watch as you wither, with power of gods, be sure that you'll live till I'm done. Why do you try to run when Babel has fallen? Yeah. There's the Shadrach and Meshach, Abednego reference I tried to put in somewhere. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you're not free, you've got nowhere to go. Anger burns my veins like fire. Your deaths are all that I require now.
Addition down here that I'm going to read as well. If a city's a symphony and abandoned Eurydice, then what does that make you but a simple melody? A broken tune left behind by his composer. So sit still and play while I'll bring your final closure.
That would have been I bring your final closure.
Yeah. And so you may ask on some of these lines, why didn't you go with that version? Well, the discussion we had within the end, by this point, we'd actually written Burning Pages already, which means we had 2 Dream songs. And a lot of Dream songs have been written by other musicians as well that are very good.
It's the same dilemma we had with Beloved.
Right, which is why would you write a song similar to one that's already written when you could go a different direction and write your own?
Mm-hmm.
In this album, we have the malicious, ominous, scary dream already. And we have the insane, mad, like, just straight crazy and angry dream already. And so when we tried to do that for this song, which is what a lot of this is, it felt off.
It felt like we were tooting on the same horn.
Right. It felt repetitive, but not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Knight eventually expressed is that she wanted this to be a more emotion-driven song, where you're getting the emotional side of Dream. And yeah, he's still crazy.
He's still absolutely a horrible villain. Dream plays a great villain.
And in this song in particular, he's extremely manipulative.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of the core of this song.
The previous one, Burning Pages, he's crazy.
Or at least on the edge of madness.
He's crazy in the sense that he's letting it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And not controlling himself very well. In this one, he does that, but it's in a different way. It's instead of just straight rage, it appeals to something different. And I think that's what makes it different. And that's what makes it a really cool song. It's really hard to rate because I just like all the songs of this album. But I'd probably say this is my number 4.
After Forevermore? Or not Forevermore. Precipice?
After Precipice.
Wow.
Because I don't think I've seen another Dream song like this.
Yeah, I feel like some people could easily mistake this song as almost being in support of character Dream, villain Dream. It's not. It's not supposed to be like, oh, he was the victim the whole time. Tommy burned his house down. Everything was fine before all these crazy people came and created a nation. That's what Dream is saying. But Dream's trying to manipulate people. That's his whole thing. And this song is supposed to be the epitome of his manipulative techniques. The way he tries to influence other people and the way they perceive him and his actions. This isn't supposed to glorify Dream as a villain.
You can also see, too, like, where he contradicts himself. Like, in verse 2, he talks about, I watched all die, the last of good times, before snakes found the garden, before all the crimes of that pitiful nation that all of you like to call home. So he's blaming it on them. He's calling them the snakes. But if you just look a little further down in the lyrics, in the outro,
he says, this is the dawn of my vengeance, my venom.
Dream's the snake. Dream's the snake. And he even kind of admits it here. I don't think he does that intentionally. We have this little outro bit labeled as the main rant of madness. And it's kind of the part where he just starts going on and on and on and on. And the structure of the song actually kind of breaks apart. And that's on purpose. It's supposed to show how he's still crazy and he's still losing it. Even if he's not just off his rocker the way he was in the last song. He's still just as crazy. And just as mad. And just as malicious. And just as contradictory.
And just as manipulative.
And you can see he references, like, other people's pain. Like, in verse 1, he talks about, we built homes together, which is a beloved reference. I forget the exact line.
We built once again like we had long ago. Yeah, that's the reference.
I don't know, there are just some great lines in here. Holding to time is like grasping for handfuls of sand. The tighter you hold, the more it slips through your hand. Dream can tell he's slipping, but he can't accept it. And I think that's very interesting. I also love that the song starts with in the beginning, and it ends with in the end.
And that's something we haven't quite touched on. But going back to what we talked about at You Dream to Dream, Prometheus and Technoblade use mythology references, and most other people do. Dream heavily uses biblical references in the songs. And this is another one of those. In the beginning. That's how Genesis, the beginning of the Bible, begins. In the beginning. Also, the Gospel of John starts with in the beginning as well. Because it's talking about creation. Mm-hmm. So it's talking about the very beginning of the world, which is what Dream's talking about, the very beginning of the SMP. It's a very biblical phrase.
And there's that little kind of implication in there that he's still claiming to be God, the creator.
Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, there were only we happy few. We had a happy life where our troubles passed away and we called it home. But then snakes found the garden, like the snake in the Garden of Eden, same Genesis, just a few chapters later, and made it so that their home was destroyed, according to Dream. Calling the Lemmenbergians the snakes, destroying their homes.
There's no sunrise. By the way, that sunrise motif again.
Mm-hmm. Going back to that.
You poison the things that you touch. There's again that accusation. You're the snake.
Mm-hmm. Even though snakes aren't poisonous, they're venomous.
Right. Fair.
He's still messing up his references.
Yeah. But also that pair of lines there. Did you not realize you poison the things that you touch? Why else do you think that all of them hate you so much? There's that manipulation. Verse 3 is so manipulative.
Oh yeah, and it's specifically him talking to... I mean, the whole song is him specifically talking to Tommy.
But that kind of picking at Tommy of like, you know, you've gotten in fights with all these people, that's you. It's a you problem.
Which is such a manipulative thing to say in this context.
And then he goes on about, you know, my home was ransacked and burned to the ground. Completely ignores when he burned all of Lemmenberg twice.
Mm-hmm. And it was, in fact, his own fault that he burned down his home.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he blames it on others. And then he calls the stone labyrinth his home, as if, oh, so pitiful he has to live in the stone labyrinth. His prison that he built, that he created, which is now his fortress that no one can get to him in. Very manipulative. And then we have more imagery that are very biblical. Did you think that your sins had all been atoned? Your savior has left you, and I'm left enthroned. Tommy has no one to help him, no savior, no Technoblade to protect him, now that Dream is out of prison.
Watching and mocking this series of tragedies. This was written after this tragedy of mine, but we wanted to put that idea out again before you guys hit this tragedy of mine as a little bit of setup.
Mm-hmm. Trying to justify himself again, you shouldn't be shocked by what I have done. I was protecting the things that I love, which is also a reference back to Heart of Stone. But now it's all gone, and this is the dawn.
So now he's pulling from Wilbur.
This is the dawn of my vengeance, my venom, my victory won. Again, I could warn you. Again, I'd observe. As you lose all you worked for and lose all your nerve. You can't outrun, you will not last. It's time to repay the debt you've amassed. Going back to the Savior, can't atone for him anymore. And then the line that I got to keep, you didn't see the streaks on the floor of that cell that we shared or the scars of the gore. That was like the one line I got to keep from the old versions.
Which is a reference to Keep Me Alive.
Mm-hmm. You didn't see the streaks on the floor when Quackity tortured me.
Mm-hmm.
Red streaks on this blackened floor.
Mm-hmm.
That can keep me alive.
But I will remind you.
Again and again. I will remind you the streaks on the floor. I'm going to do exactly what he did to me to you. And then we got that again and again.
Yep. And then this pain I will pass on to you in the end. Which is really the goal of all of this.
Mm-hmm. To hurt Tommy. And make him suffer through manipulation and pain and all of this. And we get to end the song with In the End.
Nice little frame there. In the beginning and the end. But like I think I mentioned before, Dream is one of the only characters in this album to really have a character arc.
Aside from Technoblade.
Right. Which we'll get to. But Dream's character arc is very interesting because he doesn't grow or learn from it. But if you pay attention as a listener, you can see where everything goes wrong, and you can see how he's shooting himself in the foot the whole time, and how he's contradicting himself.
Stealing from other people's ideas.
Right. The psychology of Dream is that he doesn't actually make sense. He contradicts himself over and over.
That's kind of the sign of a manipulator.
Yeah. But in the end, what happens? His world falls, and he can't accept that. His response to that is not to learn from it, but to try and inflict it on others. He just passes on the blame to someone else.
That's kind of what we were trying to capture with his trio of songs. Which, if you ever want to take the time to listen to those 3 songs, and I'd recommend the order You Dreamed a Dream, Burning Pages, and In the End. If you listen to those 3 in a row, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a complete character arc, which, once again, I think you'd be missing something if you went straight from You Dreamed a Dream to this.
Yeah, going back to our talk about Burning Pages.
Yeah.
Without that middle song, jumping from the beginning to here would be a greater jump than would feel natural. I will say that song might be my mom's favorite.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. She didn't have quite the same reaction to it as she did with This Tragedy of Mine, which I'll tell you about her reaction to that later when we talk about that song. But she went on about, when it was first released as a single, about why it works and why it's so good. Because she's not a Dream SMP watcher. Only thing she knows about Dream SMP is from what I've said. But she still listens to my music. She says that one is just really good. And every time she listens to it, she's hoping for another iteration of the chorus right after that outro, and it just never comes. And she really loves the chorus.
What kind of reiteration would she anticipate?
Like just another, just not a reiteration. She's just waiting for another repetition of the chorus.
Oh, the abruptness of it?
Yeah, she's like,
yes.
She really wants another repetition of the chorus, and it doesn't happen. She just loves the chorus, but it just doesn't occur again. That's part of the nature of the song. The structure of the song is supposed to not quite be what you expect.
Yeah, I remember talking about that. Didn't you pull this from, what was it, Creation?
Creature,
there we go.
Creature by Half Alive. Wolfie the Witch did a beautiful animatic about that, or with that song. Oh, has it been like a year and a half? Oh my goodness. It's been a while, but it is an amazing animatic, and it's a great song. But it has a similar structure, where it has the verse and the chorus, another verse and the chorus, and then this long outro that just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and you never get another iteration of the chorus. And we kind of drew on that.
I think it's a little bit creepier here, though.
But yeah, I agree. Here, it feels creepier because of just the tone of the song. Where in that one, it's like almost overwhelming happiness. Like just expressing the joy.
It's beautiful. This one, there's a slow build. And even as you go through it, you get faster, you get more intense.
I up the tempo. Which I should say here, because I forgot to mention it when we were talking about the other Dream songs, we have the do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is from the Manhunts, that do-do-do-do.
I remember when you did that for the first time, and I got so excited the first time I heard that. I was like, ha! That was really cool. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's in all of these. It's just a fun little reference to Dream's Manhunt videos, which are really fun. But also, In the End has the same bass line as You Dreamed a Dream, but it starts slower, so it doesn't quite sound the same until the speed starts amping up there in the outro. And then it starts sounding more and more similar to You Dreamed a Dream. And then it gets faster than You Dreamed a Dream. It's a fun climax that kind of reminds you of the first song of the album. So
I gotta go listen to it again. Hold on, break time. I'm gonna go listen to it. We could come back for this judge of mine later.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about In the End.
Subscribe for more content from Night of Endale, because she's awesome.
Sure, subscribe.
She doesn't ask for subscriptions very much, but you should definitely go subscribe, because you get more cool stuff like this.
Yeah, we're recording this after just hitting 4K subscribers, which is insane.
I didn't even give her time to do a 3K special.
That's the adjective I use every single time we hit a milestone is insane, but it's true. Every single time is insane. Because, this was supposed to just not... I wasn't gonna do a music channel. I just wanted to do a mashup. What happened?
Well, we'll see you later, guys.
We will see you in this Tragedy of Mind breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But holding to time.
Oh, you guys should also go subscribe to Mango.
Why?
Because
Don't post content.
Because go subscribe to Mango.
I don't understand.
She's great. Go subscribe. Do it. Woo!